Far across the Atlantic, on a lonely island called Saint Helena, the waves crash against black volcanic rock. There, surrounded by mist and silence, lived a man who once commanded the world, a man who bent kings to his will and redrew the map of Europe with a single glance. His name was Napoleon Bonaparte. Once, crowds shouted his name in the streets of Paris. Trumpets sounded, empires trembled, and the eagle of France soared above every battlefield. But now, there were no trumpets, no armies, no empire, only the slow rhythm of the sea and the shadow of a memory that refused to fade. It is said that when he first arrived on St. Helena, Napoleon looked toward the horizon for hours, as if waiting for a ship that would never come. His exile was not a prison of walls, but of time itself. He was surrounded not by guards, but by ghosts, the ghosts of victories, betrayals, and the faces of those who had once sworn eternal loyalty. They called this place his final residence, but to him, it was a tomb built from silence and salt. Each morning, he would rise before dawn, pace the narrow gardens of Longwood House, and speak softly to himself. Fragments of battles, names of lost friends, memories that flickered like candlelight in a storm. History had abandoned him, yet he could not stop reliving it. And so begins the mystery, not of war or glory, but of what happens when power fades and the greatest conqueror on earth is left alone with his thoughts. Days turned into months, and months into years. The island became his world, a place of endless rain, damp stone, and quiet suspicion. Every letter he wrote was read by British eyes before it ever left the island. Every visitor, every doctor, every servant watched, reported, recorded. And yet, Napoleon still held court in his imagination. He dressed with precision, gave orders to no one, and dictated his memories to a few loyal followers, as if history itself were his last battlefield. At night, he wrote of destiny and betrayal, of how fortune, once his greatest ally, had turned her face away. He spoke of Josephine, of France, of the dream of a united Europe, a dream that now lay buried beneath layers of politics and exile. His health began to fail. He complained of pain in his stomach, of weakness and fatigue. The doctors called it a chronic illness. But whispers soon began, whispers that grew louder with each passing year. Some said he was being poisoned slowly, his food tainted with arsenic so that his death would seem natural. Others believed he was already dying of despair, a slow surrender of the body to the weight of lost purpose. Still, even as his strength faded, his mind remained sharp. He would rise from bed to review old battle maps, tracing with trembling fingers the routes of Austerlitz, Jena, and Moscow. Sometimes he smiled. Sometimes he fell silent for hours, as if replaying every cannon blast in his mind. There, in the flickering candlelight, the man who once ruled millions fought a new war, a silent war against time, memory, and his own mortality. In May of 1821, the island awoke to stillness. The emperor was gone. His last words, whispered in delirium, were said to be, "France, the army, Josephine." He was buried beneath a willow tree, in a valley he called the Valley of Silence. No crown, no anthem, just the sea and the wind. Years later, when his body was returned to France, those who opened the coffin were struck by a strange sight. His face, perfectly preserved, untouched by decay. Some called it a miracle, others, proof of poison. The debate never ended. Was it stomach cancer, as the doctors claimed, or a slow, deliberate assassination hidden behind polite reports and official seals? Historians still argue, but the truth remains buried somewhere between science and legend. What we know is this: even in death, Napoleon's shadow did not fade. His story became myth, retold, reshaped, reimagined by generations who never met him but could not forget him. And perhaps that is his final victory. Not the wars he won, nor the crowns he took, but the way his mystery endures, like an ember that refuses to die. Because some men are not simply remembered, they are haunted. And through them, history itself keeps breathing, waiting for someone to listen and remember.